Welcome, everybody, to a very special episode of History Lessons. I'm your host, journalist Sin-seer. My guest tonight is Tommy Oliveira, formerly of the group Ground Floor. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
No problems. Thanks for having me, brother Sincere.
No doubt. We want to take it all the way back and then work our way up to what you have going on in 2025. For those who may not know, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Newport, Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? Home of the Jazz Fest. We were about 2 hours from, for those that don't know, 2 hours from New York. So, East Coast. You know what I mean?
Right. Take us back to a day in the life of growing up in Rhode Island, teenage years.
Teenage years, I was heavy into basketball, loved Michael Jordan, as did many kids. You know, was doing that in high school. Was a high school athlete, star athlete on my basketball team. Won a state championship. Was just starting to get into music at that time. I think hip hop was very early at that time. And just doing the things that a teenage boy does, running around chasing girls. Them type of thing. That
For
type of
sure.
stuff.
What were some of your early musical influences before you got into hip hop yourself? Who were you looking up to and listening to?
That was back. So that would have to be like people like before I started even doing it, it'd be people like BDP, Boogie Down Productions. A lot of people don't, realize how epic they are in hip hop. But that era, so it was that wave that Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, and De La and them were just coming. They were out, and we were just, really amazed by a lot of the stuff they were doing. So, just hip hop in general, we were just touched by hip hop, basically. At that point.
Right. What do you remember the most about the early Rhode Island scene as far as hip hop? Before, like I said, you got into it. What were you visually seeing around your way?
Before I got into it, we had a little presence here. It was it was some guys that they actually had, because back in them days it was the battling was the big thing, like it is now again. But it was a little different. But so we had some guys that were from here, Rudy C, and then there was some guys from Providence, which was a town 20-30 minutes away, and they would battle, and they would be on the local radio station 90.3, and we would listen to that, and just yeah, everybody would be hyped up about it, because hip hop was just starting out, and then it was our own little local battle on the radio stations. And it was a guy named DJ Buck, who was a good friend of mine now, um, who was on the other side, and then so it's funny because the guy that they were battling, Rudy C, was from my area, and we would just watch that and see that develop, and knew that we wanted to just kind of like take it to another level. So we saw what they were doing, but it was a little different than what we wanted to do. We were more like hard edged. I'd say, like, we came from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's streets everywhere. Not saying that this is Compton, but the streets are the streets. People don't understand there's poverty everywhere, man. So we kind of were a little harder edged than they were, and we took a different direction.
What was the name of that group earlier on?
My group or that group?
Yeah, just the crew you were
Um,
with.
so at that point, we were one nasty team running around. That was the official name, but it was like, the beginning stages of what was to be Ground Floor, coming right after that. And it was a bunch of us. That was just the name of what we were trying to figure out, like we were trying to figure out who was gonna do what and who really was serious. But that was the real early stage, like who really wanted to rap, who really wanted to be involved in this. Some guys said that, and then they're chasing girls still, like they don't want to be around when we're trying to write and do whatever. So, but ONT was probably the first group that we had. Yeah.
Did anything materialize as far as a deal? Any music pressed up at that time?
Nothing really pressed up at that time. We had some things that we, demos. We were always doing demos and spending money in little studios around, and just recording a lot of music and then having it on like a tape. Back then it was the tape. But nothing really, like that was out that we put out. Because back then you had to have wax, like if you had to press it on an album, you know what I'm saying, like and put it out. So like we weren't at that stage yet. No, no, just demo tapes.